Good morning. Welcome to English 221. I'm glad to have you here, even though it's virtual and it's a little bit strange. But here we are again, day one, spring semester 2022. So again, I'm glad you're here. I'm your instructor. My name is Stacy Miller. You can call me Prof. Miller or Ms. Miller. Prof. Miller is probably what I prefer. Every Monday, what I'm going to do is send an announcement, usually midday, could be early afternoon, where I kind of walk you through the module for the week. I would encourage you to watch these videos. I try to keep them short. It's really a way for me to make sure that you kind of hear me talking about the assignments and about any other expectations I may have. Most students in the past they've found that the videos are really helpful. So anyway, it's posted in the announcements every Monday, just kind of walking you through the modules. So before I start on the announcement for this week, I do want to just reiterate how important it is for you to work through the modules. I know that some other courses you have, they're structured so that way you only have to work off of the calendar or the to-do list or even your dashboard. But in this class, the bulk of the content is actually in the module, and that will not appear on your calendar or your to-do list. So it's just really important for you to work through the modules. There are some things in the assignments that just won't make sense until you click through the modules. All right, so let's take a look at our home page here. The landing page will put the announcements at the very top, so that way you don't have to go too far. And then I'll always have the current week's module up at the very top, so you don't have to scroll through all the modules to get to them. So you can see this week's module. We're just going to go ahead and click through. And I'm going to talk just a little bit about what you can expect for the modules. At the beginning of every module, I always have an overview and an objective page. And this is really just to kind of give you a sense of what you can expect as far as timing goes. The point values for activities, the due dates. This is just kind of an overview snapshot of kind of what the week looks like. And then because this is our first week of class, there's some orientation pages here that you won't find in subsequent weeks. So just an overview of Canvas. If this is your first time using Canvas, there's a module and some resources put out by the school that I think are actually really good, that will kind of help give you the ins and outs of Canvas. And again, that's not required, but if you feel like you need tune-up on Canvas, I do use Pronto. It's not required, and it's not something that you have to use, but I have it on my phone and I have it on my computer. Pronto is, it appears just below the support hub. I'm not sure why it's not appearing right now, but there's a little icon just below the support hub on the far left. That you can just click onto Pronto, and what it will do is it's like an instant messaging service here in Canvas. So if there's something that you need to reach me about, then you're welcome to use Pronto to do that. Again, it's not a requirement, but here are the instructions for you. It's also something that you can put on your phone. So if you're the kind of person who likes to kind of have that instant interaction with your instructors, then I would encourage you to stick it on your phone, and that way we can be in touch if we need to be. For this class, you're going to be submitting all of your major essays in Google Docs. So if you don't already have a Google account, then you'll want to go ahead and create one. There are instructions for how to do that here. Once we get working on the very first essay, then I'll kind of talk a little bit more about what that process is going to look like. But essentially what's going to happen, I'll give you kind of the quick explanation, is that when you're working on your draft, when you're working on your final and the revisions, at various points, I will be kind of invited into your document as an editor to give you feedback, not to make changes to what you're writing, but to add comments. And in that way, we can kind of work on really making your essays and your writing the strongest that they can be. So that's the reason for the Google Doc. And then we'll talk more about how to give me editing access once we get to that point in the first essay. Student hours. So I do have an office at LMC. It is in the on the second floor of the main building. but I'm not there this semester. I'm in my dining room, which I'll give you a tour of at some point. But student hours are kind of like, if I was back on campus, I would have my door open, and I have a ton of books in my office, and I usually have snacks. So office hours, doors open, and students can just kind of come in and have a seat, and we can talk about books or reading or resources you might need, or whatever essay we're working on, or whatever. So this is kind of the virtual space for that. Later in the semester, when we're working on the essays, we will have essay conferences, and those will be a little bit more formal. You'll have to make appointments for those, and those will talk specifically about the essay. But the open hours are kind of like open hours, right? So you can just pop in and say hello if you want to. Anyway, they're done on Zoom. And so here are my Zoom links and the hours. If these times don't work for you and you want to set up something different, then just send me an email or reach out via Pronto, and we'll figure something out. So my times are pretty flexible around that, so I'm happy to try to work with you for alternate times. Once we get into the essay conference section, I have evening office hours at that point for the essay conferences, because I know a lot of folks work. So, but not generally for the office hours. Okay, so those are all kind of the introductory pieces to the class. Now we get into kind of the to-do list for this week. And it's a pretty soft opening. Just a few things. The first is our discussion board. We'll use discussion boards throughout this semester. This is just introductions. You have lots of options with how you do your introductions, so feel free to be creative if you would like, and if you don't want to be creative, that's fine too. You'll notice at the very top of all of your assignments and your class activities that you have a due date, and the due date is always 7:59 p.m. Because I think having a due date at 11:59 p.m. is super confusing for students, and it kind of creates this idea that it's okay for you to be up at 11 p.m. at night to try and make that deadline. And I don't really necessarily want to be the person and the professor who's a proponent of that. So you'll notice that your due dates are always 7:59 p.m. There's always a grace period. So the grace period is typically for an assignment that's due, for example, this on a Wednesday evening, you have a grace period until the next day at noon. So your writing territories, for example, they're due Friday nights with a grace period of Saturday at noon. The grace period is a no explanation needed. It's just an opportunity for you to turn something in. I don't even want to call it late, but Canvas will say, oh, this is late. It doesn't matter. There's no points. There's no deductions. You don't have to explain. It's just life happens. And sometimes we just can't quite get the timing quite right. Not a big deal. You have this grace period. For essays, you generally have a 2-day grace period. But again, at the very top of all of your assignments, it's always going to tell you when that grace period is. So just ignore the fact that Canvas tells you that it's late. That's irrelevant. Okay, so that was your introduction discussion. The course commitment, this is something I assign in all of my classes. I just think it's so important to just take a pause and really map out what your semester is going to look like as much as you can in terms of your time. So I shouldn't say your semester. It's like, what does your day look like? What does your week look like? Especially for those of you who are holding down one or more jobs, if you have a family, if you have other responsibilities, to really kind of think about, all right, where is my class going to fit? Where am I going to write? When am I going to have time to read? And to really kind of think about how you're going to set yourself up for success this semester. So this is really an opportunity for you to do that. I will glimpse at it, but really it's more for you. So all of the directions are there. And yeah, okay. The syllabus reflection, again, this is an opportunity for you to really read through the syllabus. Again, some of my course policies, especially the grading policy, they're really different. And I don't want you to be surprised. I don't want you to be alarmed in the middle of the semester and say, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I want you to really have a good understanding of what my expectations are in this class, how I run the class. Because you know what? It's okay. If you look at my policies and you think this is not the class for me, that is totally fine. You need to go find a good fit for you. I don't hold any illusions to the fact that some people, they just may not like my grading policy at all. That's great. Then that's okay to say this is not my space. So I really want you to dive into the syllabus, make sure you understand, ask questions. There's an opportunity for you to do that in the assignment. And then just really kind of come into the class with a clear understanding of what we're going to be doing in the next 16 weeks. And then again, I did put the grading policy on your to-do list because it's not traditional. You're not going to be getting grades for everything you do in here. So again, really important that you read through that in the syllabus. And then one of our last assignments for this week is just kind of make some goals for yourself. Right, I've got some learning targets in the syllabus that I want you to look at, but this is an opportunity for you to really kind of stop and think about, all right, yes, I have to take 221 to transfer or for whatever requirement, but now that I'm here, what do I want for myself as a student? What do I want for myself as a writer? You may not think you're a writer, but you're here, you're typing, thus you are writing, right? So like knowing all of that, what do you want to, what kind of goals can you set for yourself in a kind of in a personal way? So this is going to walk you through how to do that. And again, you can see at the top, you've got all week to complete this assignment. And the writing territories. Okay. Writing territories are one of my favorite things in this class. And it's in some, it's just an opportunity for you to practice your writing. So you need to read through this so that way when I say, is it your bad piano? You're going to know what I'm talking about here. You have writing territories due every week in this class, beginning this week through the entire semester. So by the end, you will have completed 16 writing territories. They are, I think, one of the most important aspects of this class because it's an opportunity for you to practice. I think it's horribly unfair when students are required to submit these 5, 6, 7, 8 page essays that are expected to be, this really strong, solid writing when students haven't had a chance to practice. And so the writing territories are your opportunity for practice. So again, kind of read through this, take a look at what the requirements are, and then you'll be submitting your first writing territory by Friday of this week. And then I included some student testimonies about the writing territories, because everyone always kind of approaches them at the beginning like, writing territories. But then by the end, they're like, writing territories, Anyway. All right. So again, writing territory, due Friday. There's your grace period. And again, if you have questions about the writing territories, let me know. I do offer extra credit. Not every week, but most weeks there's something. This one is to create a meme for 2022, as far as kind of where you're at and how it started and maybe what you're hoping for. I may end up creating my own meme here because my family started 2022 off with a case of COVID. So I don't know what that means for the rest of this year, but it was a little nuts. Anyway, so that's extra credit for you. A little bit of a fun thing. And then there's a review at the end. So again, that is kind of what's in this week's module. So you can see, if I go back to the home page and I click on that module, you can kind of see all the content that's in there, right? And about half of it is not on your to-do list or your calendar. So it's, again, real important for you to go through the modules. All right, this one was really long. I promise next week's will not be as long. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're at LMC pursuing whatever it is that you're pursuing, and I'm here to help you be successful. So let's have a great semester, and welcome to 221.